Hey everybody, it's Dan again, and I kind of wanted to share my thoughts about being a quad right in human design. I I've sort of been picking up on human design for about 2 years now, and I didn't get my birth time correct until recently. But now that I have them, I noticed that I had. Um, there are four arrows when you look at your chart, and I noticed all my arrows are pointing to the right. And I was trying to figure out what that even meant. And I found so much great content online. And then, well, here goes. So, being a quad right, I'm going to try to give like my unique story on this. So, what I think about that is because I have a background in counseling, and I have actually done brain scans on my own brain and other people's brains to sort of see what their brains look like. And I've always been not always, but I've been pretty fascinated with uh, the different regions of the brain and how they relate to personality. And so what I noticed when I saw my brain scan was that I'm actually dominant more in the right hemisphere. Doesn't mean I don't use the left, but I use the right one more. And the going theory on the left and the right side of the hemispheres is that the left hemisphere is a region that is used primarily for pinning things down, for you could say for strategic, right? But the side of the brain that is focused in on something that is already important, and it does not involve context or story or anything. It's purely the side of the brain that's trying to zone in on what is important to the self, and we use that to survive throughout history. The example that I saw in a amazing gentleman's book related to the brain, Sir Iain McGilchrist. I'll put a link below for his work, which you'll find amazing. Is that he uses the analogy of a bird who is trying to feed, and when he's trying to feed, he has to focus very specifically on what he's trying to pick out against the background of, let's say, grass or pebbles or other things. So he needs to you use the left hemisphere to narrow in on what is already known to be important. It doesn't really question why it's important, but it is important, and therefore it will do it. The right hemisphere, how on the other hand, is where the bird is trying to pick out food using his left hemisphere. With the right hemisphere, he's open, he's uncommitted, unfocused. You have to have an unfocused attention to things that might come your way, like a predator or a friend or anything that can be, without any commitment as to what that might be. And those are his exact words from Sir Iain McGilchrist. And so I love that, and I think that relates to being more right, having more rightness in your profile. And I believe that having rightness has been seen as something that's almost incompatible with the world we live in because of the cross of planning. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but it has been beneficial for us to be more strategic and left. And if I actually could add a little more about Sir Iain McGilchrist's little story here, he proposes that the left and the right were actually pretty evenly used in society in terms of that kind of exploratory openness of the right. But he even mentions that during the 1600s, we started to shift more and more to the left. And that gets me thinking that has to do with the cross of planning. So I know I haven't too much on being a quarter right, but what does being a quarter right actually feel like being? Um, it's not being able to focus on anything for an extended period of time, unless I'm very into that thing. Then I can put hours into that thing. Um, but it's not a direct kind of focus. It's a peripheral focus. You're not, let's say, being a quarter right. It's not. It's like you're you're taking in the flow of life rather than a snapshot that you can like work with. That would be more left, because the left would be more fixed. Like, okay, we got a snapshot. That's what we're going to go with. That's what we're going to run with. The right is not committing to taking a picture, so to speak. The right is flowing. Like, life is coming your way, and it's coming in its entirety your way, not like a bit of it, the whole thing. So it's taking an impression of life. Yes, and because it's more of an impression of life that's coming your way, the river's flowing with this kind of thrust, and the you know the that person moved in a certain way, and just little things like that. You're taking in the entire like sort of picture without any focuses to anything in that picture or having a goal to do with that picture. And that would also kind of correspond with the left and right hemispheres of the brain. So there's something there. And, you know, I'm sure we can link that back to genetics. Um, but being, uh, kind of going into that rightness is going to be important in the future. And the reason why I think it's going to be important in the future is because people are gonna not be able to really know and trust. And this is gonna be a process. I mean, I don't think this is gonna just come out of nowhere. People are slowly not gonna be able to rely on anything but themselves. And when you have the leftness there, it wants to take orders from the right. In fact, let me go back to Sir Iain McGilchrist here for a minute. His book is called The Master and His Emissary. He refers to the right hemisphere as providing the context, the real life, moving, incarnate, everything about that makes life what it is, you know. And so I don't know where I was kind of going with that, but there are correlations there that we can find, through the brain, actually looking at the brain. I'm so excited about stuff like that, actually seeing my own brain. um, and Yeah, if anyone has any thoughts or anything they like to kind of throw out there, I'm just kind of mixing and combining different things, and just kind of trying to universalize this in a way. I am a 2-5 emotional projector, so I am here to universalize something. But I will probably be in my cave because I am a 2 second line, so I'll probably be here, and you probably will only hear from me in these videos, unless I get pulled out of my cave, which is not very often. But you all have a wonderful day, and I will be making more content soon. So stay tuned. Take care.